What do you think of a vegan diet versus a raw vegan diet?
Mm. Oh my, that opens up this amazing world of theory as well as some hard bumping up against reality. In theory, it harkens back to those stories when I was first getting into the natural food movement back in the 1960s and 70s. There were some real live raw food fruitarian folks, and they would spin these wonderful stories back in the days of the Garden of Eden. We were all raw food before the invention of fire. We were all eating raw foods, which is true in its way. And that invokes, living in this Eden-like paradise, and fruit is dripping off the trees, and you spend all day plucking mangoes and bananas, papayas from the trees. And could you live like it? Yeah, you probably could, but you run into some realities. It sounds idyllic, but the reality is that these wonderful fruits and foods are mostly fiber and water with some sugars in them, and you got to eat a lot of them to get your 2,000 calories. And the issues of dental health and imbalances down in the gut that you might be spawning. There are folks who live on high food diets. It can be done, but when you decide that heat shall not enter the preparation of your food, well, now you've eliminated a whole lot of important food sources there. There go root vegetables. You don't eat raw potatoes, by and large. There goes the entire family of grains. You don't eat raw rice. Excuse me, you don't eat raw barley. Now, you can soak them, that's true. But you got to be willing to eat re-soaked barley, I guess, is a hard. Can you do it with rice? Rice stays hard, even under the water. There go the legumes: beans, peas, chickpeas, lentils. You don't eat raw beans and peas and lentils by and large. You can have, some raw peas out of the pod, but you don't eat pounds of them. And there's lectins and things like that really should be destroyed by cooking your lentils and beans, etc. So it comes down to fruits and garden vegetables. And again, those are mostly fiber and water. You have to really nurse it. You'd spend all day eating. You better live at the garden there. You're going to eat a whole lot there. Now, granted, avocados, bananas are denser, nuts, seeds. You're going to be eating a fairly high-fat diet. And is that helpful as far as cancer prevention? Is that helpful as far as your arteries? Nobody knows. Nobody's really living on these kinds of diets that I'm aware of. The flip side of that is, can you add heat to food without hurting it? Because the raw food folks say cooked food is poison. As soon as you heat it over 108 degrees, you kill the enzymes. It's dead food, not even worth eating. And there's an element of truth in that. And there's no question, the more heat you add to food, the deader it gets. And you put a potato or a carrot in an oven for 500 degrees for an hour, it's going to come out ashes, no question. That kind of, that amount of heat in that manner is injurious to food. But there are ways, I believe, to get heat into foods without injuring the nutrients. And all three of them involve water. As long as water's involved, we're talking about a few minutes in a vegetable steamer, or I don't think, certainly we know that if you're going to eat a lot more steamed kale than you'll eat raw kale, and you're going to eat a lot more steamed broccoli than you'll raw broccoli. And in a couple of minutes in the steamer, yes, you might lose some vitamin C. You're not going to lose any protein. You're not going to lose any minerals. You're not going to lose any fat-soluble vitamins. It's not that there is no nutrient value, left in the kale or the broccoli just because you steamed it for 4 minutes or 6 minutes in a steamer. So I think that's a safe way to get heat into food. Second is adding hot water to soften starches. What does that mean? Well, that's how you make oatmeal. That's how you make rice. You're just adding hot water and softness, and you're not damaging the protein or the minerals or the vitamins. And you actually are making the fiber more hydrated, more easy to pass through your GI tract. So I think that's a second way to use water to get heat into food without damaging the food. And the third is to actually cook with water, make a stew, make a soup, yeah, you're going to lose, a little bit of vitamin C, I'm sure, but that's why you're eating salads. That's why you're eating fruits. No one's telling you don't eat raw vegetables. But you're willing to make that trade-off because make a really hearty vegetable soup filled with lentils and beans and chopped up vegetables. There's so much nutrients in that whatever little bit of vitamin C you might lose, make it up with a extra helping of salad. But you can get heat into food without injuring the food using water. Now, once you pass into dry heat cooking, once you get into baking and grilling and roasting, and the worst thing to do is frying in oil, that is destructive. I agree with the raw food folks there, and nix on that. If you want a roasted carrot, once a month, as a treat. Yeah. But by and large, don't be charring your food. Don't be grilling it and roasting it. It really is destructive. And the black and brown stuff that's on the surface of the potato or sticking to the pan there, it's full of acrylamides and carcinogens. You don't want to be eating that stuff. Keep your food as fresh and light as you can. So raw food versus cooked food. Now, all this said, I'm a big fan of raw foods, and half your diet by volume that goes down your gullet each day should ideally be raw, at least. And I'm talking about a big honker salad at least once a day, if not twice a day. Like Dr. Furman says, the salad is the main dish. And he's right. You want that live, vital, ineffable, you can't even describe it, that vital essence that's in live foods. Absolutely. Scoop your hummus up with celery stalks and carrot sticks and find ways to get raw veggies and munch on fruit slices and grapes during the day. Keep that stream of raw fruits and vegetables going in. But for satisfaction or reasons and calorie reasons, healthy starches I think are reasonable to cook up some quinoa, some millet or barley, so many wonderful grains, buckwheat, farro, and make some wonderful stews and soups, make them really hearty. I think they complement each other, the consciously prepared heated food and the raw foods. Keep it around at least 50-50, weight a little bit more towards the raw. And you can't go wrong. And it's a high fiber diet. Your colon's going to love it. Your vitality will love it. It's how to make a healthy human being there. Hi, everyone. Dr. Michael Klaper here, announcing our new format for our Q&A with Dr. K. Each day, Annie Hagen will be asking me one question that's been sent in by our viewers. So if you want to see if your question is getting answered, do join us for our daily Q&A with Dr. K right here. Hope to see you then.